Captain America Brave New World is finally here, and we're going to be talking what worked, what didn't work, and what does it mean for the future of the MCU. We'll also be explaining why this is the final ever episode of That Superhero Thing. I'm your host, Nick.
And I'm Anthony.
And welcome for the last time to That Superhero Thing.
Let's do it.
Should we start with the elephant in the room? Not the thing about That Superhero Thing. Let's just go straight into Captain America.
Yeah.
Why all the hate?
I don't know.
I don't get it either.
It was solid.
I
keep saying solid, and it wasn't 100%.
No, I suppose it wasn't.
But I didn't sit there nitpicking things, which I have done for the last few movies.
Yeah.
Not really. I know we had the thing about the green screen, which we'll talk about in a bit.
Yes.
But as a general rule, storyline wise, and where it's progressing in general, I'm actually a lot more satisfied than I expected to be.
I don't know whether that helped, because I think a lot of people, like we did, have probably gone in with really low expectations of the movie. But it certainly wasn't as bad as it's being made out to be.
No.
So I'm sure everybody already knows. From a critic's perspective, I think it's currently sitting around 51% on Rotten Tomatoes. Yeah. Audience scores a lot better. Last time I checked it was 79%.
Yeah.
Cinema Score, so there's a thing called Cinema Score by a company called cinemascore.com.
Oh, okay.
Weirdly. They've given it...
Solid marketing.
It is good as clever, isn't it? It's quite a clever idea to call your thing the name of your thing. They've given it a B-.
Okay.
Which is the lowest ever cinema score for a Marvel project. Ever. Yeah. The Flash got a B.
Shut
those
up.
Those CGI babies in the microwave. That got a B, and this got a B-. I can think of more than 5 MCU movies that are better than this. By like a long way.
Yeah.
Quantumania. No, worse than this.
Yeah.
Quantumania. A million times worse than this.
Thor Love and Thunder didn't get it. Thor Dark World.
Thor 1, Thor 2, Thor 4, they're all worse than this. They're all worse than this. Ant-Man and the Wasp is not as good as this. Captain America the First Avenger, I don't think is as good as this.
Okay.
Winter Soldier, my favourite MCU movie.
Yeah.
I don't think Captain America the First Avenger was as good as this. And I was thinking in the cinema, I think if you go back to that original run of Avengers movies, so Iron Man 1, fantastic.
Yeah.
But then Iron Man 2, Cap 1, The Incredible Hulk, Thor 1.
Even Iron Man 3 got some negative reviews on it.
I enjoyed Iron Man 3.
I did.
But purely from what I thought was better.
Yeah.
I don't necessarily think this was miles better than them.
No.
But I think it's easily on par with all those movies. I think we've just become accustomed to big Avengers feel movies with loads of cameos and loads of crossovers and loads of this is building to the next Avengers and this is how this is building to the next Avengers. And when they then present us with a movie that's just its own movie, I think people are like, what is this? But I think that the delay, obviously we know there were delays and we'll talk about the delays and the reasons for the delays, but I don't think that's necessarily hurt it, because I think if I'd gone into this a year ago and been presented this exact thing, I'd have thought this doesn't feel big enough. But because we've had a break, it feels okay to me.
Yeah.
So I really enjoyed it.
100%.
I really enjoyed it. We'll break it down. I think we need to start off with the characters, and obviously we'll start with Sam Wilson. I know they said Falcon. He's not Falcon. He's Captain America. Yeah. And I think this is the big thing as well. What do we think of Sam Wilson as Cap? Is he Captain America?
Well, I think that's the thing, isn't it? He's never going to be Steve Rogers.
No.
But
doesn't need to be.
He doesn't need to be. And we've had that inner fight now in this movie of him not being Steve Rogers, but that being okay. Yeah. I like the fact that although he's not got the super serum, he's got other aspects that will help him and aid him in battle. So he's got the wings, he can fly and stuff like that. He can get further faster and stuff like that. The vibranium wings, all of that kind of stuff. Like, he's got an arsenal of weaponry now that will aid him. But he's also still a good fighter.
Yeah, definitely.
So
I don't think that's Captain America, though. That's the only thing I would say.
Yeah.
I think Sam's great. I think he 100%, he's deserving of the mantle of Captain America.
Yeah.
I like how originally they've lent into this thing of this dude doesn't need the super serum. He doesn't need it. We're not going to go straight in and give him the super serum because it's about how he deals with problems in a different way, not just punching his way out of a problem. And that's great. Yeah. That's fine. But then within 30 seconds of the movie starting, you've got Joaquin Torres going, he's got this suit, it's made of vibranium, it basically makes him indestructible. And it's like, well, that's not what you've done. You've talked about him not needing the serum. Yeah. And a big deal of making the serum, and now you've given him basically an Iron Man suit. And it's like, well, go, just give him the serum then. Yeah. You're going to give him this suit, because then when he's not got the suit on, he's a little bit
vulnerable.
Useless. Yeah, not useless isn't the right word. I apologize. But he's too vulnerable. Yeah. But then he is vulnerable. I mean, I think he got stabbed 4 times in this movie. Yeah. And just got
on with it.
And he got shot twice. I thought I was watching a Scream movie. Seriously. They get stabbed 12 times and then get up and just carry on. Seriously.
Yeah.
I went home and watched
no
Scream
fast healing or anything like that either.
No, exactly. I went home last night and watched Scream 6 on Netflix. Yeah. And that bit where that girl's crawling across the ladder after she's just had her stomach ripped open with a knife, and then she's just walking about and crawling on the ladder, and I was like, this is literally what I've just watched in the cinema. It's just Sam Wilson. So go into it or don't go into it, but I think a lot of aspects of the movie did make him look too vulnerable. Yeah. And he even commented a couple of times I should have taken the serum. Yeah. And I think they now need to give him the serum. Yeah. I don't think they'll give it. I don't think they'll necessarily have him go, do you know what? Bowing down to the pressure and going, I need it. Yeah. I think somehow he's going to end up with the serum or some sort of power. Yeah. And the way I think he'll do it is he'll either, because of Secret Wars, and how big everything is, think, right, I need to take the serum. Yeah. Or I think he'll be forced into taking the powers. So in the original, I don't know loads about the old comics, but in the original Secret Wars, it was this guy called the Beyonder who created Battle World, and he brought all these heroes to it. Yeah. And basically set them up like chess pieces and got them all to fight. And I think 1 or 2 characters who the Beyonder didn't feel were powerful enough, he powered them up and gave them more enhanced abilities and enhanced suits and stuff like that to be like, right, let's make this more interesting. Yeah. So I wonder whether Cap, as the leader of the Avengers, is going to get dragged to this battle world, and whoever's doing it, whether it's Doom or the Beyonder, is going to go, no, you're the leader, right, bang, there you go, you're now superhuman 2.0, and he's just going to be given the powers. And I think that's maybe an easier way of doing it, a nicer way of doing it than Sam going, I've just decided I'm going to cave and I'm going to take it. Yeah, and then that creates its own thing. It's like, I didn't want this serum, I didn't want these powers, and now I've been given them and I've got to deal with that. Yeah.
I was under the impression that he was going to do it himself. Okay. But I like that theory that
it's going to be forced upon him.
If it goes a bit comic book way. Yeah. That it will be forced on him instead.
I think it could work either way, to be honest.
It could 100%. There could be a situation where they're all together, or he's with other people fighting, and he just goes, I'm not at this level. Yeah. There's no way I can defeat.
You can't do it.
Yeah.
No, so it's got to happen at some point. It's got to happen.
Definitely.
Harrison Ford as Thaddeus Thunderbolt Ross.
I wasn't convinced going in on this.
Okay. Neither was I, really, to be honest.
And I don't know why, because Harrison Ford obviously has had a great career. Yeah. All that kind of stuff. But I just...
Did you think he was going to phone it in a little bit?
Yeah.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
He didn't.
And he didn't at all.
No, not at all.
He really went for it.
Yeah.
And I was quite impressed. Now,
we'll talk about some of the scenes a little bit later on in a bit more detail. But yeah, he did. He nailed it.
He did. I was quite impressed. And I love the little comments about shaving the tash off and having a new look and all of that kind of stuff. I like that. But I actually really enjoyed his performance in it.
Yeah, I did.
I thought he followed the previous Ross very well.
Yeah, it wasn't jarring in any way, shape or form that we've now got Harrison Ford as...
I didn't go, it's not him kind of thing. I've just taken it on and just gone with it. And he didn't let down. No, I think it was good as well. Yeah.
I noticed, and we'll talk a bit about some of the Easter eggs in it. And obviously it had a lot of callbacks to other movies. I mean, I know it was Captain America 4, but it was basically The Incredible Hulk 2 with kind of a sequel to The Eternals as well. But it was very much centered around The Incredible Hulk. But something else which we questioned 2 years ago, a year ago, as to where it was going, and I completely forgot about it.
Oh, go on.
In Black Widow.
Yeah.
Ross was dying and he was really ill, and Scarlett Johansson made a comment about how he was looking really not good.
I'd forgotten about that.
And we were like, what's that all about? Yeah. And then I think because he died, And we didn't see him at all now till this. I was like, that's just going to be sort of swept under the carpet. And again, I forgot about it. And then they started saying he was dying and his heart was failing. And when he said I was dying, when he shouted, he's like, I was dying. I was like, that's Black Widow. He was dying in Black Widow. Because we were like, why? Obviously, I think he then passed away. William Hurt passed away. It was William Hurt, wasn't it? He played Ross.
I can't remember now.
Very soon after Black Widow. So they couldn't lean straight into ill Ross or anything like that.
No.
William Hurt died. But I liked the little callback to it. I think it was very subtle. And I would imagine a lot of people wouldn't have even got onto it. But it was good. So we're into Incredible Hulk 2. We're basically. So let's talk about Samuel Stearns.
Okay,
We've not seen him. I don't know when Incredible Hulk 1 came out. It must be
2011?
No, I think it was like 2010. Hang on. We'll talk, Anthony, and I'll find her.
So
sing us a song.
Stearns had the brain. It got too big.
It did. I like that. That can be my ringtone now. So it's been years. 2008.
Oh, 2008.
Yeah, so it's been 17 years.
Okay.
It's been 17 years. Wow, that's gone.
That's scary, isn't it?
Yeah, that's gone quick.
But then again, he said he was locked away for 16 years, so it
16 years.
makes sense.
It does make total sense. But hasn't there been a time jump? Oh no, we're caught up with the time jump.
We caught up with it, yeah.
Oh my God, that's even scarier.
That's
We've caught
sickening, isn't it?
It is, yeah. So, there's a lot to talk about with Samuel Stearns. The fact that he's just been gone, and we've now brought him back. Very sort of obscure thing to do.
Can I just say, though, I kept looking at him.
Yeah, go on.
And all I could see was Toad from X-Men.
Yeah.
Because of the green and because his eyes were dodgy.
See, I'm really colourblind. Was he green?
He was right, green.
Okay. So, yeah. I've seen some pictures online this morning.
Yeah.
Where it's like, he's really green, but when I was watching it, I was like, I didn't pick up on it at all.
He was really green.
Okay, no, that mate. Well, I like that. What did you think about the look then?
I mean, it was because it was different to how he looked in The Incredible Hulk, wasn't it?
Just a bit. He was green. He was green.
Vastly different.
They love making people look like scrotums. We had Thanos with a scrotum on his chin, and now we've got Sam Stearns with a scrotum on his head. But yeah, they've gone a very. It's a big look, isn't it?
But I feel like it's a more realistic mutation-y look. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think they need to make him look scary.
Yeah, from where they went with Incredible Hulk.
Yes,
because it just looked like he was about to explode, didn't it?
Yeah.
So now I like the fact that it's giving you that mutation vibe, but in a way he could put a hood up and get by.
Yeah, I get
do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, and so
you the glowing green eyes as well, which is kind of cool. So this is part of the reshoots. So in the original cut of the movie, which is it was delayed by a year, wasn't it?
Yeah.
He didn't look like this. All the promo material, there's Funko Pops of him looking very different. So you can find it online, but that's what he originally looked like in the original cut.
Okay.
So it's basically just
goatee. He looks like Megamind there, though.
He does look like Megamind. I think if he'd come out looking like that, even if they'd done the prosthetics really, really well for his head, I think it would have just looked even more cheap.
Yeah.
I don't like that. You can find it online. It's basically just Tim Blake Nelson with a goatee and like a stretched out forehead,
but still with a green tinge.
Is that he's got a green tinge in that as well?
Yeah,
he's got a green tinge as well. Again, I'm very, very colourblind. So yeah, I liked the look.
Yeah, me too.
I think he was a good villain. Yeah, I think
I like the whole probability thing.
I liked that.
I really enjoyed that.
Very, very clever setup.
Yeah.
We'll talk about the post-credit scene at the end as well, because that's a very clever setup.
Yeah.
I like how subtle it was.
Yeah.
Without being like completely in your face. I like the callbacks as well with Sam Stearns. Yeah. I like the fact that the song that played that sent everybody cray-cray was Mr. Blue, because in The Incredible Hulk, when him and Ed Norton.
Oh, yeah.
Ed Norton, when him and Ed Norton's Hulk were contacting each other.
Yeah.
Bruce was Mr. Green and Samuel Stearns was Mr. Blue.
Okay, I didn't get onto that.
So the song that played was Mr. Blue. Again, just a nice little callback. Not in your face Easter eggs like some of the critics have said.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't think it was in your face anyway.
No, well, I didn't realise until you've just said so.
I liked it. I liked him as a villain.
Yeah.
I think the fact that he was clearly he was 100% the overarching villain of the movie.
Yeah.
I think it's less of a problem now that that Red Hulk was in so much of the promo materials.
Yeah,
because even though he was in it for 2 minutes, if
that, it was made out time, that the whole thing was going to be about him.
That he was the bad guy. Yeah, and again, some people are saying that that's why people are criticizing it, because it was all sold as it's Cap versus Red Hulk, and he was in it for 2 minutes at the end. I'd rather be a little bit surprised.
Yeah,
we knew Tim Blake Nelson was going to be in it as the leader.
Yeah,
I just don't think any of us knew that his role was going to be as significant.
Yeah,
I like that.
I like that he was the puppeteer. I like that he was pulling all those strings.
Yeah, rather than just some big Hulk. And again, it works better for Sam without the serum, rather than having him to fight an Incredible Hulk 4 times.
But an hour and a half of just fighting brawn will get boring.
Oh, yeah,
so I like the fact that there is a brain behind it, and there's all sorts of elements to it.
Yeah. No, I like that.
So I was fine with it. I thought that made it better, if I'm honest.
Yeah, 100% I did.
To me, that is the same as having the Hulk in the promo stuff for Infinity War.
Yes. Probably not at the same. It was, yeah. Probably not at the same level. But it's you've gone in.
They've given us a red herring. They've gone. This is what's happening in this movie, and it's like, actually, it's
especially for general audience.
We
knew he was going to be there, but you could have gone and watched that. It's like if Jill had gone in and watched that movie, even if I'd shown her all the trailers, she'd have still been like, "What is this? Who's this guy?"
Yeah.
Because she wouldn't have remembered Incredible Hulk either, to be honest.
Yeah.
Another very prominent character. We've seen him before from Falcon and Soldier. So we've got Joaquin Torres now.
I love
Ramirez him as our new Falcon.
Yeah.
And I was about to say, what do you think? Anthony loves him.
Yeah, I think he's brilliant.
I found it really entertaining, to be honest.
Yeah.
At first, I was a bit like, do we need a new Falcon? Do we have to go straight in with a sidekick? But I think he did a good job, to be fair.
Yeah.
He was entertaining.
Well, I mean, they were building him up to be the sidekick in Falcon and the Winter Soldier anyway.
Definitely.
So we knew we were going to have him, and I feel like because of that, it doesn't feel forced.
Yeah.
But I like the fact that he's got a very young mindset and attitude to it all. Yeah. And it's all exciting and big explosions and all that kind of stuff. When it's nice because
he's just excited to be there. He's just happy to be part of this.
But it's nice because we've got people now, and every movie that we've got are suffering massive consequences of what's already happened. Mm-hmm. Whereas he's coming in all airy fairy, basically, like, this is fun. This is what I've always wanted. Mm-hmm. Like, and I love that because it just gives us a break from all of the harsh tones of losing people and all of that kind of stuff. So I quite liked the balance that he gave.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Does that make sense?
No, it was fun. It was much more fun. It was lighthearted. It was 100% the comic relief of the movie.
Yeah. But again, and this is what I absolutely loved about it, we weren't satired with tons and tons of comedy.
No, it was very,
this was more serious. There were comedic elements to it, but it was very serious, and I like that because we've lent too far into comedy in recent movies.
Thor, Love and Thunder. Do you know what I mean? It was too,
Yeah.
They were going for, I think they were
We've gone from Thor flying on a broom.
Exactly.
To this, and it's made me relax a little bit and feel a bit safer. Does that make sense?
Yeah. And we've come out, I liked it at the time. We've come out of the super mega comic bookiness, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like Thor, Love and Thunder, even Shang-Chi. I loved Shang-Chi, but I felt like they all went too comic-y, even with the costumes, the whole vibe of it and stuff like that. And they've pulled it back a little bit.
Yeah.
And made it a little bit more gritty and a little bit more moody.
Which is what we needed.
It feels a bit more Winter Soldier-y.
Yeah.
And there's a few points that are very similar to that sort of movie, but yeah, I liked it, and I think it's definitely pointing us in the right direction. We're not there.
No.
We're not back to where we were.
No.
But it's definitely a huge leap forward.
Yeah.
Somebody else who I think probably had more of a prominent role maybe in the original cut, from what I've heard. Ruth Bat-Saraf, our new widow, played by Shira Haas.
Tiny, isn't she?
She's like 4 foot. Yeah, but that's why I did that, and we'll talk about her in a second. In the scene where they come face to face with Samuel Stearns, and they're basically, Sam and Joaquin basically both get their asses kicked.
Yeah,
they win. They win the fight. But there's 4 dudes.
Yeah,
and the 2 of them get just about scraped by.
Yeah,
Joaquin saves Sam. Didn't like that at all. And then all of a sudden, there's now 6 dudes, and Ruth just tears them to pieces in like 30 seconds.
Yeah.
And it's like, she's great.
Yeah.
But then Captain America has just not held his own anywhere near as well as this girl. And it's
with
just
less
like,
people, because there were 6 men in the corridor.
Yeah. So basically, it was in a 2-on-1.
Yeah.
Sam struggled.
Yeah.
And then she took out like 6 of them. And it was cool. It was really cool. And I liked her as a character.
Yeah.
And I'm quite excited to explore her a bit more.
I liked the fact that we didn't know what side she was on.
Yes.
For the beginning.
Yeah, I did.
Because there was that look in when Ross got shot at, there was a look of which side is she on, because it looked like she was shooting
definitely
at the wrong people as well. So I was really confused at first, and I thought when he walked in and he said he wanted to speak to Ross alone, and she was in there, I thought that it was because he was going to say that she was involved in it.
Yes, yeah, I did. Yeah.
So I was like, how is this not more intense than it is? Like, why isn't he battling her?
Yeah.
So I quite like that, to be honest, because it was just kind of like teetering on that edge of which side is she on.
Yeah. And I'm glad they went down the route of not being a bad guy.
Yeah.
I don't know where she's gonna fit in if going forward though. That's my only concern.
I don't think she's gonna be in them going forward. No. I think this was it. For her.
I don't think I don't want to see her again.
No.
But where do you fit her in to a new Avengers?
The only thing I can think, we may get her in Doomsday if Yelena is like, I need one of my Red Room girls.
Yeah.
That's the only thing I can think.
Be there when we get our next big endgame battle. And we bring everybody sort of into it. But then will we? Because she's not saying she's just a widow, but do you know what I mean? If you're going to be having big multiverse,
but there needs to be a good reason for it.
All that sort of stuff. Yeah, it doesn't necessarily work. Although again, she's probably more equipped than Sam. Like
well,
I mean,
the rumors that I've heard about Secret Wars is that there's going to be 60 plus.
Really?
People that already exist in the universe.
Okay.
That are coming into the movie.
Okay. Well, that's cool.
So, which is massive.
Yeah.
And it'll be very exciting and very good as long as it works. But
the Russos are doing it.
Well,
it's the Russos, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
Mate, so I trust more.
I trust them.
I trust that they can make that work, because I think if a lot of other people were doing it, it'd just be too much. It'd just feel like too much of a free for all. Last couple of characters to talk about, because they don't have as much screen time. We've got Carl Lumbly back as Bradley.
Yeah,
loved having him back.
I loved having him back.
I think it was a bold move having him such a prominent character.
Yeah,
because you've only seen him in Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
Yeah,
and a lot of people might not have watched it, and even people who did watch it when it came out must be 3.5 years ago. Yeah, because we've been doing this for 4 years yesterday.
Yeah.
So, and it was the second thing we covered. So 3.5 years ago, people probably haven't gone back to watch it at all.
No.
And now we've put him in as quite a prominent character from that. I don't think
it's
essential that you know.
No, because he did do a little reintroduction in the gym at the beginning anyway.
Yeah, the other Captain America.
Yeah. But as somebody who felt like he was wasted in Falcon and the Winter Soldier a little bit, I was glad he's had this airtime now.
It was just a shame that the only time he really got to have a fight was when he was trying to kill Ross.
Yeah,
but it was good.
But I like that he got a bit of a moment in the movie.
I don't think again we'll see him in anything other than future Cap movies.
No,
though. I can't see him being dragged into like Secret Wars or Doomsday or anything like that. And I worry that if they did, it'd be to kill him off to provoke Sam or something.
Yeah,
and I don't really want that. We also got Giancarlo Esposito as Sidewinder, the head of the Serpent Society. Great, all reshoots.
Was it?
Yeah, it was all reshoots. Apparently, the original plan was for Seth Rollins, WWE. Anthony knows WWE now. Seth Rollins was originally supposed to be that sort of role. Rumors suggest.
Yeah.
And they took Seth Rollins out and brought Giancarlo Esposito in to take on that role. I love Seth Rollins. He's great. He's great at what he does.
Yeah.
I would have really loved. I'm really devastated we haven't seen it. But I don't necessarily think it's for the worst that we've got him out of it.
Well, we said that the whole fact that the serpents were used as a tool in this rather than being their own baddie means that they could come back.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
And I'm wondering if they'll use Seth Rollins later.
Potentially.
Because obviously with what happened with him, he's going to be away now in prison. So
yeah, he will be.
So will Seth Rollins take his mantle
potentially
and get him back out, and then they both have a bit of a power struggle within?
I hope they
do. You get what I mean?
Yeah, but I hope they do it differently, because I feel like the scenes that were shot with Seth Rollins, just from what I remember seeing from promo photos and hearing, I think it was a lot more comic booky, silly.
Oh,
and
okay.
I think that's what we need to get away from.
Yeah.
And if that's the case, as I said, I'd love to see it. I'd love to at some point see deleted scenes or something like that with Seth Rollins. I hope it comes out. But I think it was probably for the best.
Okay.
Especially with where Marvel is at the moment. And this being such an important movie, just to sort of reset it.
Let's be honest, Esposito, he plays such a good villain.
He's just great, isn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like he kind of plays the same role in everything.
Yeah, I get what you mean.
He doesn't. Does that make sense?
But
he's good.
If it's
and
not
he does
broken,
it
don't
different.
fix it.
No, I know, but he does. He just always does play the same character, just a little bit different.
He's always been a lot calmer and slower, and I feel like he was a little bit more chaotic in this one.
Yeah, he was. Yeah, it was good to see him in an action scene.
Yeah,
I don't think I've ever seen him. in an action
we haven't.
Scene.
He's always walked away, and then there's been an explosion or something.
Yeah.
He's like, "You've been taught a lesson" or whatever.
Yeah, it was.
Whereas this, he was in there with the action this time, and I was quite.
That was interesting.
I quite enjoyed that.
That was good.
So yeah.
So we've done characters. Let's do. So there were obviously loads of scenes in the movie, but there were two. There were two main scenes. We had our battle at Celestial Island.
Yeah.
Full aerial battle.
Yeah.
Right. Let's talk about that. For a start, Celestial Island looks mega.
It looks so good.
It was such a shift in the movie, though.
Yeah.
Because I think it was really good. I think it started off a little bit slow, but it was really good, and I was engrossed. It gripped me. It was very gritty. It was very down to earth and grounded. And then all of a sudden, we're in the middle of the Indian Ocean.
Yeah.
In the middle of the Indian Ocean with this giant rock alien sticking out the ground.
Yeah.
And I was like, right, okay, I think it was a really nice balance.
Yeah.
Because it didn't feel stupid.
No.
And it felt like a huge shift, but it just it worked.
And again, it was a satisfaction of this came out of the water.
Finally.
How long ago?
I don't know.
And barely anyone's addressed it since.
Yeah.
So it was nice to finally get that.
Yeah.
That is a global event.
Oh,
that is as prominent as Thanos' snap. Because there's nobody in the world that would not know about this celestial being that was coming out of the sea. So I like
to destroy the entire planet.
Yeah. So I'm satisfied now that it's now been addressed and it's now out there properly since Eternals.
Yeah.
So
and it's set up some huge, possibly numerous huge things.
Yeah.
But clearly one massive huge thing.
Yeah.
The discovery of adamantium.
Yeah.
In the MCU.
Yeah.
How's this going to work?
Is that the way that it was brought into the comic books?
No, not as far as I'm aware. No, adamantium had been around.
So I
ages.
like the fact that that's how they've brought it in, but it has brought up questions. Then, so to us, it obviously looks like X-Men now will be brand new. It won't be that they've already existed and been underground or anything like that. It's going to be that. Because obviously, until adamantium is discovered, we can't have Wolverine with his metal claws.
No, but I think you can. So hear me out. Okay. And this is that this doesn't fly with what we've just seen.
Okay.
I don't think this is going to be the introduction to the X-Men or Wolverine.
Don't you?
No, I think what's going to happen. I think we've all thought this for a while. Is we're not going to get X-Men before Secret Wars.
Okay.
But do you think we will?
I don't know.
2027. So Secret Wars is 2027.
Well, I mean, it sounds like they've put everything out there up to Secret Wars, so it doesn't sound like it's going to come before then. But they did have 2 projects that they weren't revealing yet.
They did. But I can't see that being an X-Men movie.
I don't know.
I still think...
do you think they'll get introduced in the Secret Wars? Because
possibly, yeah.
I would be at this point now. I would be upset if the X-Men are not in Secret Wars.
I think they'll get introduced in Secret Wars, yeah.
Do you?
But I think Secret Wars is going to be the reset, and I feel like it's going to be a soft reboot, and I feel like it's going to be... We're going to somehow end up with a mixed universe not where we're constantly going to different universes, but we're somehow going to end up with a mixed universe where we're going to get a new Iron Man, we're going to get the Fantastic Four in, we're going to get the X-Men in and stuff like that. And I think it's maybe a better, easier way of doing it to have it so that the X-Men that we get are an already established group from another universe that's somehow become a join to our universe. And I don't necessarily know whether it's best to go that route of now, like, right, now let's create a Wolverine.
Yeah,
if that makes sense.
You
can go down the whole Logan's got bone claws sort of thing. It's Japan who now have this adamantium, which again ties in with the comic books. You got Silver Samurai, who was a samurai completely made out of, full suit out of adamantium, one of Wolverine's biggest baddies.
Okay.
So that ties in really, really well.
Yeah.
I don't think it's a red herring. I'm not convinced it's gonna be the thing that leads necessarily leads into it. But again, we might be wrong. What did you think about the whole battle, though? The whole aerial battle?
I really enjoyed it.
I did. Very intense.
Yeah. And I like, again, it's giving Captain America fights that are tough, but he can handle.
Yeah. Completely made for Sam.
Yeah.
Again, very reliant on technology and stuff like that. But it really worked. It had the Steve Rogers vibe of, I'm going to potentially sacrifice myself, like when that plane was going towards that ship. And he was like, he just went down with the plane trying to stop it. So it definitely had a Steve Rogers vibe.
And I must admit, I feel like it played up loads, but I really enjoyed the slow motion of him moving and slicing the plane wing with his wing.
He did it a little bit too many times.
It was good.
It was good.
I
think it looked a little bit cheap.
Do you think?
It looked a little bit too CG.
Yeah.
But again, it sold the idea, but I just don't necessarily like the idea that he's so reliant on the suit, because he might as well just.
Because Red Wing was in it heavily.
Yeah, it's kind of like a cross between Iron Man and Cap at this point. And it's not necessarily what I think Cap should be about. But again, it was really good, and I think the final battle maybe was more of an idea as to what his Cap is about.
Yeah.
The other thing about this, which again leads us into the last big scene, is whilst all this aerial thing was going on around the whole alien celestial thing in the water, you had Ross fighting with becoming the Red Hulk, and that made this scene even better. Because it wasn't just
because we were like, is it going to happen here? Because I sat there and thought, I've only seen him on the ground. I've not seen him on a ship or anything in any fight scenes.
That could have 100% happened. I know we hadn't seen it in trailers as well, but he could have hulked out there.
Yeah. And it would have been cool because there's no escaping that because they're on a ship. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Yeah.
So it would have been very interesting. But I liked the tease of it, and I loved just hearing Stearns goading him all the way through it. It was
really
brilliant. Good. It was so good. I really enjoyed it.
I did. I thought that.
And when you saw his eyes changing colour, and you saw the muscles in his legs going,
expanding,
like I was like, oh my god, this is going to happen here at the worst time possible.
No, it was really good.
good.
And then obviously that set up our final battle.
Yeah,
for the movie. So all played out by Stearns.
Yeah.
Again, very clever dude. We'll talk about that. But we finally got Thaddeus Ross hulking out.
Yeah.
What did you think?
I liked how they filmed it. So I liked the fact that he fell to the floor, and then you had the podium, and then him appearing behind the podium. I was like, brilliant.
I liked how he seemed to be boiling hot and melting his way through the suit.
Well,
and
did you notice, because the blossoms were
burning
disintegrating when they hit him,
until he grabbed the last one because he'd calmed down.
I
thought that was a really good effect.
I thought it was.
I don't think they necessarily lent into it enough. It's like, I think they could have maybe done a bit more with it. But again, it's not necessarily a bad thing that it was subtle.
No.
But I really like that. I don't know if that's from the comics. I don't know if he is red hot in the comics,
no, I don't.
But I thought it was a really, really good little thing. He looked brilliant.
I love that someone shouted, "They're red now."
Yeah, but he just
that made me laugh.
The look of it, considering some of the shots in this movie are not particularly great CGI. There's some bad green screen, which again we'll talk about in a second. But all the budget's gone on Harrison Ford's Red Hulk. Because it was, I couldn't fault it. It was absolutely perfect. Not a single shot looked like it was slightly out of place. Looked a bit cheap, which again we've seen in the past. It was absolutely spot on. I don't get how, for some reason, I assume it's because it's vibranium, he could like somehow cut him. Because I've never seen the Hulk be cut or scratched or anything like that. Maybe once against Thor.
I'm wondering whether that's because he's Red Hulk, whether it's
different
because it's been administered differently as well, and it's been over time and stuff like that.
Banner Hulk is the perfect Hulk. Anything else is a not as great version of it.
So that was where my mind went, because obviously he was still completely stopping bullets and stuff like that. Yeah. They were just bouncing off him, but
and the rotor blades from the helicopter.
Yeah.
But somehow Sam, I'm assuming it's because it's vibranium.
Yeah.
Maybe super sharp.
Yeah.
But it was good to see him again be a little bit. Have a little bit of a weakness to it.
Well, I think you would have needed it. Otherwise, the fight would have been far too one-sided.
Yeah. They were kind of selling the point a little bit that this dude's not as strong as Banner.
Yeah.
Which is why, because me and you both said it when he got back up from under that car.
Yeah.
We half expected Banner to show up.
Yeah.
And it would have been a one punch and you're out.
Yeah.
There was no. I knew it wasn't happening, but I thought it could happen, like we said last night on the walk back to the car. But it felt like it would have been an easy fight for even Smart Hulk, because he didn't. He was a huge threat clearly, but he's not a full Hulk level.
Yeah.
Full Hulk level threat. The way Sam beat him, that was perfect, Sam.
Yes.
That's why.
That's Captain America, isn't it?
It's not even that's Captain America, it is, but that's Sam's Captain America.
Yeah.
He's not a therapist, he's a counsellor.
Yeah.
And he talked the Hulk. He talked the Hulk down. Do you know what I mean? And I know we've seen it happen in the past, because Natasha used to do it with Banner.
Sun's getting real low.
Yeah, sun's getting real low, sort of thing. And I keep just instantly go back to where
I like
Thor
the
tried
fact
to do it. It didn't work.
I love the fact that his first idea was to take him to where he went with walks with Betty.
Yeah.
Like, all of that kind of stuff was very, very clever of him.
Yeah.
And
was it just me who didn't think that was obvious enough, though? Like, because I feel like the only time we got mention of the cherry blossoms was on the phone call to Betty 2 seconds before he hulked out. And then all of a sudden we ended up where the cherry blossoms were. And then it was like, this is where he used to come with Betty. I feel like it could have been done a little bit more subtly and maybe a little bit.
It was mentioned twice because...
Well, I must have missed the first one then.
Because he'd said it in front of Sam, which is why Sam knew, because the second time he was on the phone to her on his own in the Oval Office.
Okay. No,
so it had been mentioned twice.
Okay. That makes more sense. So I was like, they've
as
just
soon as he said clear
up.
That place, I was like, oh, that's where that's going to be.
No,
so I was onto it straight away.
Okay, yeah. I missed that. But yeah, it was good.
Yeah.
It was good. It was a good wrap up. It was a good way of beating him. It was the way that made sense.
Yes.
Yeah. You could have gone down the route of you get him to sort of knock himself out, which again we've kind of seen, but this was a different way of doing it.
Yeah.
It's not. It's a very specific way. It's a very specific villain to do it to, though, and it's not gonna work against anybody else.
I also like the fact that he's not a villain.
No, not at all.
Like he said, all this movie he's been saying, I'm showing that I've changed my ways and stuff like that. But that rage that he's always had is what's undone him in that moment. And that's why I like the fact that, because obviously we got the raft after this, didn't we? Where he went to. Which I was excited to see because it was the first time we'd seen it since Civil War. And they basically said, you've turned yourself in, you've stepped back as president and all that kind of stuff. You've done the right thing following. So I like the fact that he's not like, I'll get you.
No,
do you know what I mean?
Which is what Ross that we've seen has always been.
Yeah.
So, and I think the fact that we've got Harrison Ford as a new guy playing him, that's probably helped. I think it would have been quite nice to see William Hurt's Ross come full circle and become not the villain, but it is what it is. But yeah, I agree. It wasn't just Sam talking him down. It was 50-50 to a degree, with him becoming the not bad guy anymore. Which again I think makes for an easier return for him in Thunderbolts, if that was to happen, or obviously just Doomsday, that sort of thing. But I'm not sure where we're going to see him again. Apparently, reportedly, he has signed on for a future project.
Yeah,
so he is going to be
Secret Wars.
Could be Secret Wars, yeah. I think it makes sense.
Well, so this leads on to a theory.
Go on.
I think that throughout the next couple of films until we hit Doomsday, I think there's going to be little Easter eggs or background chatter of both heroes and villains disappearing one by one.
Oh, I like that.
Just so that you're getting little hints and they go, that they've gone from the raft, but there's no
Yeah, yeah.
There's no explanation. There's no broken locks. There's no forced exits or entries or anything like that. But they're just disappearing.
Yeah, I like that.
And I think that'd be really cool.
Yeah.
And even if it was just, like at the end of one of the next films, say even Fantastic Four, if Reed just disappeared at the end.
Yeah.
Just like some weird teleportation thing and he's gone and they're going, oh my God,
where's Reed?
Where's Reed?
Yeah.
And I think that'd be really, really cool.
Yeah.
And I think whatever happens in Doomsday, like the last 5 people or whatever,
they're shifted off.
They're then shifted off, and then you just see, and it's already established. The battle arena's already there. There's loads of other characters already there that have disappeared throughout the last couple of films.
Yeah,
I think that'd be really cool.
That would be wicked. That would.
I'd be really intrigued with that.
That'd be so good. That'd be brilliant.
We also got 2 cameos that we haven't talked about yet.
Hang on.
Go on.
Hang on. Bucky.
Yeah.
I can't tell
you. We got Betty.
Oh, we got Betty, yeah. Cameo. Cameo.
Well, it is really, isn't it?
Yeah.
So we got Liv Tyler back.
We got Liv Tyler back as Betty for about 12 seconds on screen.
We had her on the phone, and I was sat there thinking,
is that Liv Tyler?
Is that Liv Tyler, or have they got somebody that sounds like her?
Yeah, yeah.
Just because there was no indication that he was going to actually see her.
Yeah, but it was so it might not be Liv Tyler.
Yeah.
To the point that when he was on the phone with her.
Yeah.
In the Oval Office, I thought it was going to be Stearns.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
The way she was talking, it was very emotionless.
Yeah.
This isn't a dig at Liv Tyler, by the way.
But then he has said that she hasn't spoken to him for a long time.
I know, but I was just waiting for it to be Stearns and be like, and start talk and go, goading him like you said. That's what I thought was going to happen, and then when it didn't, I was like, oh no, it's just Liv Tyler. And then I thought we're not going to see her now.
Yeah, well that's
until we got to the raft.
So I really like that we got that, because again, it ties it in with the one actor that was in The Incredible Hulk.
Oh yeah, it just enhanced the fact that it felt like an Incredible Hulk sequel.
Yeah. So I quite like that we got those couple of moments with her in it.
Definitely.
Because, again, on the phone call and stuff, Liv Tyler's got such a distinctive voice as well.
Definitely, yeah.
It's this very breathy kind of, a little bit Mila Jovovich, but soft.
Yeah, I know what you mean, yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So when I heard it, I was like, it's so distinctive, it can't not be her.
No, I know what you mean.
But then, I didn't think we were going to get her at the end, so I like the fact that we had that moment.
I'm not convinced we'll ever see her again.
No, I'm not convinced we'll ever see her again. But again, you were saying about it being Ross coming a full circle.
Yes.
I think that solidified that for him.
No, I agree.
That was the full circle.
Yeah. But then to the point where, I'd be happy if we didn't see Ross again.
Yeah.
Cure him, don't see him again, but apparently he is going to be back. Doesn't mean he's going to be back as a Red Hulk.
No.
He could just be back. He's not president anymore.
Well, he could be mentioned. It could be in Thunderbolts for all we know.
Yeah.
And it's just not been announced.
He's not president anymore, though.
No.
So we've never really seen the president before.
No.
So it doesn't necessarily mean it's now got to be a new character.
Yeah.
But again, you never know. And then the other cameo, Congressman James Buchanan Barnes.
Yeah.
I was fangirling so much when he came on
did.
screen. I was.
You really did.
I love Bucky. He's so good.
We really weren't expecting him either, were we?
I think I love him so much because he's like. I feel like he's our last original. Does that make sense? Who's still showing up?
Yeah.
I know we've got Clint, and he's but we've not seen him since Hawkeye.
No.
He's just so cool.
Yeah.
He just is. I didn't like him in First Avenger.
No.
But when he came from coming back as the Winter Soldier and his whole arc,
yeah.
I just think he's great. But again, he was there. It did feel a little bit very intentional.
Yes.
Very much a setup, which we talked about in the car on the way back, for Thunderbolts.
Yes.
To get him in position for what looks to be the first part of the Thunderbolts movie, where Val is speaking to Congress to try and get permission to make super soldiers, probably. And he's there.
Yeah,
and that just explains why he's there, and it just slots him right into place.
Yeah.
But he didn't really have much to do apart from talk Sam up with his speech.
Literally just to give Sam that little bit extra hope.
Yeah. But I liked it.
Yeah, I did.
I love the fact that they're such. They've gone from not liking each other, to such good mates, to the point where when he leaves, he's like, "Love you."
I know.
I was like, yes.
I was like, oh, I like that.
So good.
Yeah,
they're so good.
Are there any cameos that you were kind of expecting to see that we didn't get?
Not really, no, because I think it was kind of not cameo heavy, but I think the fact that you've already brought back Samuel Stearns.
There's one that I did think we were going to get.
Who?
I thought we were going to get Nick Fury.
No, I didn't. It didn't even cross my mind.
Didn't he?
No.
It did for me, only because of the fact that Sam kept mentioning about bringing back Avengers.
Yeah. You're thinking maybe a post-credits.
And I was thinking maybe there's something there.
Yeah.
That Nick might be on the phone to Nick or something like that, and he goes, "We need a 2.0 because."
I don't think it's a bad thing that we haven't brought him back.
I don't think it's a bad thing. Because I feel
like the last couple of times that we've seen him,
great,
but his
relevance has started to disappear.
He's just felt silly.
Yeah,
to a degree, and I think we need to lean. I'm not saying that like the last time we saw him in the Marvels, that was a very comic-y, silly film, whether you love it or hate it, and whether you do love it or hate it, whether it was a good film or it wasn't a good film, it's this very careful, right? It's the problem that Marvel's got.
Yeah.
Not in the way that people are saying. It's like, we're superpower women and stuff like that. That's not what I'm saying. That's fine. That's great. It's been happening since Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Get over it.
Yeah.
It's the fact that it felt like a very silly, too comic-y movie. And I think that's where it's losing people.
Right.
It feels too kiddie. And I think this, like we've just said, much more grounded, much more like the Winter Soldier. And I think when you bring Nick Fury back in, because he becomes such a part of that silliness, you need to just bring him back a little bit more carefully. But I do want to see Nick Fury back. But leads perfectly into the post-credit scene.
Yes.
So this felt like the end of Iron Man. What you think you said this to me?
It
felt like the end of Iron Man 1.
With
we're starting the Avengers Initiative.
Yeah.
But even more subtle.
Yes.
So we ended up with Sam being very, very cocky to Samuel Stearns, saying you've ended up in here and stuff like that. There's a few things going around. I think Brandon Davis from Phase Hero has said, I saw him today, saying he thinks Stearns wants to be there, and it's all part of his plan.
Okay.
Which would make sense because he's a super intelligent guy, although he did say a couple of times Sam surprised him. But he's basically saying that I think, to sum up, the others are coming.
Yeah.
So he's fully aware that there are other versions of these heroes, whether they are bad or good.
Yeah.
And it's all coming together.
Yeah.
And it's a much better tease for this whole multiverse war.
Yeah.
Because, again, all the post-credit scenes, whilst it might be one of the most boring post-credit scenes, which to a degree I agree with, because nothing really happened apart from a little subtle hint.
Yeah.
As big as the other post-credit scenes have felt for other movies like Shang-Chi, the Marvels, where we got Beast. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's not gone anywhere.
No.
And I don't know where it's going.
And that's the thing that's been annoying me with those. Like, everyone's gone, oh my God, the end credits were amazing. They're only amazing if you follow it up.
Exactly.
You know, we've had introductions to all sorts of people that we've not yet seen again. Exactly. You know, we got Hercules at the end of
Forgot
Thor.
about that one.
Yeah. And there's just nothing. So
no.
How good is an end credit if it doesn't materialise?
Harry, what's his face at the end of Eternals?
Yeah.
What the
Harry
hell
Styles.
is that about?
Yeah. Thanos' brother. Eros.
The beacon at the end of Shang-Chi. It's like it's a beacon for something. For what? It's been like 3 years. For what? Beacon for what? This was 10 times more subtle than that.
Yeah.
But told us so much more.
Exactly.
It was like, this is exactly where this is going now,
and I
guys.
feel like people have forgotten that, and that's why people have gone,
that's what I want.
It was
I don't just want a big cameo at the end. It's cool at the time.
Yeah.
But then when it doesn't go anywhere, it's like...
Well, that was pointless.
What's the point? And it's just more disappointing.
I
think this was absolutely spot on. We'll talk very briefly, right, reshoots.
Okay, yeah.
This movie got delayed by a year.
Yes.
To the point where the McDonald's toys came out a year ago, which we've already talked about. This movie got delayed by a year. There's been loads of reports that there had been... I think Rob Liefeld, who wrote Deadpool, said so, who's obviously got a vendetta against Marvel at the moment. I'm not saying he's in the wrong, but he's very against Marvel at the moment. Yeah. He said something along the lines of like, this movie's been shot 4 times.
Yeah.
And I think that's been pushed a lot in the media, on socials and everything like that.
Yeah.
Jonah Julius Onah, who's the director of this, has come back and said, literally in the last couple of days, has said that's all not correct at all. He said, we made the movie, we had one run of reshoots, which is pretty standard for any Marvel movie, and that's it. I don't think it looked like it was reshot 4 times.
No.
To me, 90% of the movie looked as if it was itself.
Yeah.
And then there were a few moments, like the green screen at the end of the Hulk battle, which again, there's a really, really prominent shot all over social media. I'll show it to Anthony. I mean, that's pretty naff green screen. When the cherry blossoms are behind them, that were clearly reshot. Yeah. The whole Giancarlo Esposito thing, we just know. Didn't look like it was reshot.
No.
But we know that, that it was reshot. I think it can be construed as a negative. Whether they had to reshoot this movie 4 times or whether they just did one run of reshoots. Yeah. You can sit and look at it as a negative, as to be like, these guys didn't know what they were doing. Yeah. You can also look at it as a negative, I suppose, that even if you don't think this movie was fantastic, after all that work and all those reshoots, this is still all that we got. But to me, it's like, right, they're not just putting out any old crap. Yeah. They've gone back and they've fixed it. If they've done it 4 times, good.
The thing is, right,
they've kept going back and fixing it until it was decent.
Let me explain it this way, right? With the creative process, have you ever thought something in your head, then said it out loud and gone, oh my God, I should never have said that?
The intro to this episode about 6 times before we pressed record.
Sounded great in my head. When I've said it out loud, now I just sound like a weirdo.
Yeah.
It's that. But I think it's that kind of thing. Sometimes you can write it on paper and go, that's going to be awesome. Yeah. But then when you've shot it and you look at it back and you've added all the effects in and you go, here's the scene, you go, actually, that's not what I envisioned at all. We need to reshoot it. We need to do something different. Sometimes you have to see it to know whether it's worked or not.
Super comic-y Seth Rollins as the head of the Serpent Society.
I've got no problem with reshoots, because the way you've just said it is, to me, that's going, well, that wasn't good enough, so let's do it justice. Let's make it a good movie.
And there's a lot of stuff that Marvel have released recently where it was just like, doesn't matter, it's a Marvel movie, it'll be fine. Play it out. And I'm glad that we're not doing that. So yeah, if it was 4 reshoots, if it was 1 reshoot, good.
I think the big thing that we said to each other was, I've not walked away from this going, oh my God, that was a phenomenal film.
No, I haven't.
But it's given me some security that they are trying to get back in the right direction.
We are 100% going back in the right direction.
And it's building up my excitement for the future films now.
Yeah, I mean, we said last week, I am and was already super excited for the Thunderbolts.
Yes.
I'm even more so than Fantastic Four, but I'm really excited for Fantastic Four as well.
Yeah.
This felt like it's just one of those things I've got to get through to get to Thunderbolts and Fantastic Four. Would have watched it on Disney Plus.
Yeah.
But we ended up going to the pictures to watch it anyway.
Yeah.
So glad I didn't. It was good.
Yeah.
It's just going in the right direction now.
Can I also say, just because we mentioned the Fantastic Four.
Yeah.
I watched Multiverse of Madness again the other day.
You did.
And Doctor Strange, the first thing he says to Reed Richards,
go on.
He mentions something about something to do with him being in the 60s.
Oh, does he?
Yeah.
Did he really?
Yeah. Okay. And it's made me go, hang on, is that like...
Does he know?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
So I like the fact that we're already getting a link now to this links. Fantastic Four.
Yeah. It's like we got in this that links back to Black Widow.
He said something like you've lessened the 60s vibe, or it's something along those lines.
Yeah,
and because it's not something I'd ever noticed before.
I need to go back and watch that.
But it just went, oh, okay. Yeah. So I was kind of like, okay, yeah, I'm feeling this a bit more. So again, even just a daft thing like that has made me again just gain that little bit of extra excitement and stuff. But theory wise, from this now, I think we could pretty much go anywhere.
And I like that.
Yeah,
I like that. I know we know the general direction really well. Whereas again, we've watched other things and we've not known what was going on at all. We know the direction, both from a storytelling perspective and a quality perspective.
Yeah,
I'm more excited.
Yeah,
Just like general rating of the movie. Not perfect. No movie is.
No.
It's not back to Marvel MCU caliber that we'd got to, but it's probably one of the better movies since Endgame, in my opinion.
In this latest phase,
yes, definitely. It's better. It's better than Love and Thunder. It's better than Quantumania. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah,
I'm excited to see what's coming with it.
Me too.
Cool. Right, so before we get into our news and wrap up, should we see what listeners thought? Should we do Podfans Assemble?
Yeah.
Pod Fans Assemble.
So, Maury said, a film that gets on its hands and knees to beg, look, we can do Winter Soldier again. Guys, Winter Soldier, remember. But fails fundamentally by completely missing the point. Half the characters feel like they're just remnants from previous scripts, and other half barely work.
Ooh.
Heavy
That's heavy, yeah. I kind of agree with everything they've said.
Yeah, because it's not Winter Soldier.
No, it felt like they were going for it.
Yeah.
I don't think that's a bad thing, though.
Yeah, but I don't
to
feel...
me, it's my favourite Marvel movie, and I feel like, and I've said so many times on the show, we need to get back to that type of movie, not your super comic-y stuff. But each to their own.
Yeah. I wouldn't have said they completely missed the point.
No, I don't think they completely missed the point. I think it was good.
But I think there's when it's gone so far another way, there's only so much you can do when you're building the gap again. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
When you're trying to bridge that gap.
Yeah.
I don't think you can just fully dive in it in a different way. I think you have to kind of bring everyone back.
Yeah, but I think this is the danger that Marvel have got now, because they had a very specific feel and vibe. I've said vibe lots of times in this episode.
Yeah.
But they had a very distinct feel to their movies up until Endgame. And then once we got past Endgame, for years now, we've had a completely different feel to the movies.
Yeah.
And you are going to have people who are a fan more so of that sort of theme, and now you're clearly then leaning back into the old theme, so you're going to get people who would prefer that we stay on the same track.
It's that thing again of you're never going to please everybody.
No, you're never going to.
It's never going to
But as long as they please me, that's the important thing.
Fair. We also had Lucy that said, amazing.
That's it.
A little star eye emoji. Ross Kiernan said, went to see it last night. Honestly, it is a good movie. Not as great as it could have been, but solid nonetheless. And that's exactly what we've been saying.
That sums it up really well.
So, Ken said it's flawed in its narrative structure and means to an end within the MCU, setting up what's to come. Better than Quantumania and Thor.
Yeah.
Thor 2, 7 out of 10. No point staying for the post-credit scene, but read about it after you see the film.
Oh, no, I disagree.
I disagree.
I don't think it was essential that you watched it.
I don't think it was essential.
Because you could just read about it, but like we said,
I was glad that we stayed.
I'd rather have that than...
Because we went in being told that it's pointless and there's no reason to sit and wait for the end credit.
Yeah.
But we did anyway.
We stayed anyway.
And I was glad that I did.
I'd rather have that than we see some random Marvel character who we've not seen yet. We see Amadeus Cho or something like that.
Yeah.
And then we never see them again.
Yeah.
I'd rather that.
Yeah, same. We also got a message from Matt. I saw it last night. It's very derivative, but still entertaining. I'll put specific thoughts in a spoiler tag. Am I describing Cap 2?
Thank you, Matt. That's very nice. This came through before we saw the movie.
Am I describing Cap 2 or Cap 4? Captain America uncovers a government conspiracy and has to go off the grid to discover the truth. He goes to an abandoned military base to discover a supreme intelligence pulling the strings. Meanwhile, a friend of Cap's...
Yeah.
Says about that. Meanwhile, a friend of Cap's is brainwashed, controlled, and Cap goes to extreme lengths to get his friend back. Oh, and the Falcon joins him as a sidekick. With all that being said, it still felt more like a sequel to The Incredible Hulk and Eternals more than Cap. It was an odd narrative that way. Still, I had fun with it and glad it exists, even though it should be the weakest of the 3 MCU releases this year.
Yeah, but I don't think that's a negative thing. I mean, when you put it like that, yeah.
Yeah.
But if it works... Again, I've said it 3 times now. It's my favourite. Winter Soldier is my favourite Marvel movie, which is probably why I really enjoyed this, because it did feel a little bit like Winter Soldier.
Yeah.
Do you know what? I really enjoyed this. I hope it is the weakest of the 3 Marvel movies that come out this year.
I hope it's the weakest.
I think it probably will be.
Yeah.
But I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing.
Yeah.
It was great.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it.
Me too.
I liked it. That's us, guys. But we have news. We're not gonna divulge everything right now. We've talked about this in the last 2 episodes that we did.
Yeah.
we've got some big changes to that superhero thing, but it's not going to be that superhero thing. We won't tell you the name yet.
Yeah, technically this is our last episode.
Technically this is the last episode of that superhero thing. Yeah. Like we said, I'm back into Marvel now. We could keep it as that superhero thing, to be honest. There's other stuff we want to talk about.
Yeah.
Or movies and TV shows, but we feel that with the name, the brand of that superhero thing, it's
pushing us into too much of a corner.
Yeah, it's limited us a little bit. So it's just time to evolve.
Yeah.
Really. We will still be heavily centered around Marvel, DC, hero content, but
we want to have that flexibility.
We want the flexibility. Yeah. And the name and the feel of the show will center around that.
Yeah.
That's still our main sort of area that we're going to look at. I know they said area of expertise, but that's a stretch. But yeah, that's the area that we're going to look at, but we'll be getting into more stuff. So we will be back, just not as that superhero thing. Yeah. We won't have an episode next week.
No.
We will be back for the premiere of Daredevil.
Yes.
Born Again. Episode will drop on Friday, March the 7th.
Yes.
New everything, new name, new show.
New people. No jokes.
New people. But no, to be fair, from time to time we will have new people because there might be things that Anthony wants to talk about that everybody else loves that I don't.
Yeah.
At which point we'll get somebody in, and vice versa. There might be things that I want to talk about that Anthony's not interested in, that everybody else wants to talk about, and we get somebody else in to talk about that as well.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Anthony's doing a show as well, so there will be 1 or 2 weeks when we will have somebody stepping in to so that I can keep going, so that I'm not just sat here talking to myself. But yeah, there will be some big changes, but it'll still be us. It'll still be the same, just talking crap, tangents, and everything like that. For everybody who's listened, though, up to now, 4 years. So we are now the 16th of February.
Yes.
And our first ever episode came out on the 14th of February, Valentine's Day, 2021. So 4 years we've been doing this, on and off. So for everybody who's listened to that superhero thing, subscribe to the Patreon, bought merch.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Because it genuinely does mean a lot.
Means a lot.
Yeah, and that's us for that superhero thing. Thank you very much, guys, and we will see you. We will not see you. You might see us though in 2 weeks.
Thanks, guys.
Cheers,
see you
guys.
later.
Bye.
Bye.